Hello, everyone. What is up? Welcome back to another episode of We Want to Talk podcast, where we want to talk to you about everything. I'm Kaylin.
And I'm Melissa.
And we're your hosts. Oh my gosh, we're back.
And we're excited.
We're excited. Today's a fun episode. Life has been crazy. I want to say I feel like we're finally slowing down, but
we're not.
Does life ever slow down? We're just at the phase of our life where we're just so busy. Life is crazy. Alyssa's been working a lot. I feel like I've been having like a lot of like social stuff going on. Ivy and Co has kept us busy. All the stuff.
I don't think there's ever going to be an episode where we don't say, life's been crazy, sorry.
Yeah, I know. And I think that's just also, which we've mentioned this before, but if this is your first episode with us, me and Alyssa do live 2 hours away from each other. So I think that's why for us these things are just so hard to do, because it's like, okay, when can Alyssa take off her other job so that she can come here and work? And when do we not have something going on so that it works out for her to come? And so it's just been a lot lately, but we're finally getting back into it. Before I go any further into this episode, I do want to say that if you don't know, we live in Georgia, and the weather here has been absolutely insane lately. So I'm literally looking out my window right now, and it is extremely dark outside. We are trying to get this episode done before it starts storming, but we were hearing some thunder before we started. So that being said, if you hear any thunder or any rain in the background, we apologize.
That being said, we're risking our lives to record this episode for you.
Yeah. So,
sorry.
Leave us a 5-star rating for this, okay? Don't be ungrateful. But seriously, the bottom is about to fall out. Yeah. If I could turn the camera and show you, I would. It is crazy out there right now, so we do just want to apologize for that if you hear any background noise. But today's episode was actually sent in by a listener, which is something that we have been begging y'all to do. Yes. Please send us ideas. And Alyssa and I have actually, one of our ideas was like moving away from your hometown. And I'm pretty sure we have talked about that before. But this idea, as you can tell by the title, is the pressures that social media put on you to live in a big city versus a small town. And so we're going to kind of elaborate on that. Talk about how we're from a small town, the towns that we live in, how we feel on those thoughts, and all of that kind of stuff. And I did also want to mention that we had another listener send us a cute little message about how one of our relationship advice episodes actually helped her relationship, which just makes us feel so happy because we're not professionals by any means, and we still have so much more to learn in life, but we love that our experiences can help other people and their relationships. So it makes us feel like, it makes us feel like what we do is worth it. Yeah. So just wanted to share that. We always appreciate. That was the iPad. That was really scary. Oh my gosh. That scared the crap out of me. Sorry, y'all.
We were like, huh?
Anyways, back to what I was saying. Okay, so we decided to do this topic for today because we definitely both felt like we could relate to this topic, both being from a small town and moving away.
I feel like we're also almost at the same point in our lives that the girl was messaging about, like at the same crossroads, like, oh, did I miss something? Like, am I missing out? Should I have done something different? What could have been? So
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. We were just talking about that before, so we're definitely going to elaborate on that, and hopefully y'all know that you're not alone. So with that being said, let's jump right on in. Okay, so here's mine and Alyssa's backstory. Once again, if you don't know, if you've listened to our very first episode, you know that we're both from a very, very small town. We graduated with 100 people in our class, extremely small high school. The people you graduated with, you had been going to school with since pre-K.
Yeah.
Like, literally. Very small town. Everybody knows everyone.
Everybody knows everybody's business. It never ends.
Word travels so freaking fast. I absolutely hated it. there's 2 gas stations in the city that we lived in. Heck, I feel like you can't even call it a city. It's a town. It's what people refer to as towns.
Yeah.
It's not even a city. It's a freaking town. There's 2 gas stations. No red lights. Like,
there's not even that many stop signs, to be honest with
you. There's like a lake, a little small lake, and there's a neighborhood on one side of the lake, and there's the neighborhoods on the other side of the lake, and that was like literally the
4
town.
neighborhoods that surround the lake, and that's it.
And that's literally it. And there's the main road that goes in between it, and there's your 4 neighborhoods, and that's it for the small town.
2 gas stations across the street from each other.
That have the Hunts Brothers pizza, and then the other one has like a little grill in it where they cook and stuff. So, a small freaking town, okay? Like, y'all get the point. So, me personally, I was born in a different county. My parents, I've mentioned this before on here, but my mom and my dad were never married. And so when their relationship didn't work out, my mom got married and my dad got married. And so my dad always lived like 45 minutes to an hour away in a little bit of a bigger city, or definitely one of the bigger cities in the middle Georgia area. So I definitely kind of got a little bit of that experience, but growing up, I went to that high school or lived in that county from kindergarten to the time I graduated. So I always knew that I didn't want to stay there. Like, because me personally, like, the only family I had there was my mom's family, or a little bit of my mom's family. Like, my mom's parents did eventually end up moving there with my cousins, but it was just my stepdad's family that was there. And so for me, I really had like no like
and y'all even
crazy ties there. Yeah, and my mom ended up
high school
moving my senior year to the county over. But even then, I was the type of person who knew I didn't even really want to stay in middle Georgia. Like, I knew I wanted to move. Like, I couldn't imagine my kids going to the high school that we went to. Like, I still can't. I would rather.
My kids will
not. I don't even know where I would rather move instead of moving back to that county. Like, I just don't even know how to describe it to you. Like, it's just not me. And so, I did move after high school, which technically we both did.
Yeah.
We both moved after high school. I moved to the town that my college was in, and I still live in this town now. To me, it's a small town, or it's a small city. But it's also, I feel like it's just one of those, like, where it's in the middle. Like, we're not big enough to have a Target.
Yeah.
But, like, we have a Publix. We're getting a Crumble. We have a ton of restaurants.
Yeah, y'all also have a pretty big population, but y'all's city is so big that it almost doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
But y'all are definitely pretty big.
Yeah. But it's also smaller. Like, it's not... Like, it's not as big as, like, Savannah. Or, hey, not even as big as... If you're familiar with Georgia, you'll know what Macon is. And we're definitely, like, not even as big as Macon at all. Like, our town is literally one big circle. And the college and all of the main stuff is in the middle of the circle. And then there's a lot of communities on the outside of the circle. And that's literally the city that I live in. And so the college does make up a majority of our population, giving you a little bit of that bigger city feel. But there's also, like, it's smaller, tight-knit communities.
Everyone almost still kind of knows everyone. Not in the college realm, but as of, like, the actual communities.
For sure.
People that have lived there. Lived here for
definitely.
a while.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so you moved twice.
I moved, so for college, I moved a county over, which wasn't a big deal because the city that I moved to was the city that we had to go to
for everything. That's where I worked in high school. And that's where we went for everything. That's where our Walmart was.
We had to go there for literally everything.
Yeah.
So it was very familiar, but I still loved Milledgeville. And then a couple years later, when I was out of college, I moved to a bigger city that actually her dad is from and that he lives in. And I loved it. It was almost bigger than Macon, right? Or would you say? Maybe not.
The thing is about Macon's just dragged out over a large space. And Warner Robins is also huge, but it's like in one, like it's all crammed together. It's not spread out.
That's true. Warner Robins, which was where I lived for, a year and a half, it's 3 main roads that are all parallel to each other, and that's where everything is within, 3 miles of that road?
Yeah.
Maybe even 2.
But it's a really big city,
It is a pretty big city, so I've kind of experienced both. I loved Warner Robins. I didn't really want to leave Warner Robins, but moving back home, too, like, I didn't think I would want to. I still am like, do I want to live in this county? Like, I don't know. I think if I ever did, it would not be in the city that I grew up in. It would have to be. But I've always been, I want to live in the country. I want to be able to walk out in my front yard naked if I want to, and, like, people don't see me. Like, that's just, I don't want people in my backyard. I just want the privacy. I want the land. I want the garden. Like, I've always been that type anyways. But I also really like living in Warner Robins, where you've got the bigger city, and it's only 5 minutes down the road to Target.
Yes.
And it's just the convenience of it. Yes. But then it's also like, okay, well, I've got 2 miles to get home, and it's going to take me freaking 10 minutes to do that in the middle of the day because of traffic sometimes.
Yeah.
So I've seen both sides, but that's a little bit of our background and where we are now. Yeah, for sure. Going to kind of back to, like, where we're living now, kind of comparing. So, lately my husband and I have been putting down more roots in our small town where we live. Like I said, I moved here for college, and so at the beginning my friends were college friends, and Mike's friends were his friends from back home that were going to college here, and then his co-workers. Yeah, but then all of his friends left, and we were like, who do we hang out with? Yeah, my college friends graduated and moved back home, and then it was still just us here. And so I definitely went through a phase where I was like, oh my gosh, why are we still here? Like, can we move? Like, we have no one here. Y'all were like, what do we do? Do we move? Because at this point, y'all were about to buy the house.
We were considering buying a house.
And y'all were like, okay, so do we move somewhere else? Or do we stay here? Because y'all love it here, but it was...
Yeah, it's that what if, you know, like, is this really where we want to stay and raise our kids and all of that kind of stuff. So lately we've been trying to put down more roots. We don't know if this is where, like, we're always going to be forever, but for now this is our home. We're country club members now. We've been going to a little bit more events. We've been hanging out with more of our friends that we have here. And doing stuff like that makes you enjoy the tight-knit community of a city like this, you know, because the small town we're from doesn't have events and stuff like that going on. So we're in a little bit of a bigger city to where we have stuff like this to be able to do, but we're not in like a big city where you feel like you're walking down the road, and you don't see anyone that you know. Yeah, so I feel like we're in like a really good like middle, and like, I absolutely love it. Like, I was telling Alyssa, a couple of my favorite examples are, like, I have these 2 kids that I babysit. I pick them up from school once a week. And the school that I pick them up from, obviously, like, I'm listed in the app to be able to pick them up. But even when I tell them, like, who I'm picking up, they just automatically know the kids when I say their names. It's not like they're like, who? You know, and like have to search for it. Like, they immediately know who I'm talking about because it's a private school and it's just such a tight-knit community. Like, they just know the kids, and I just, that's something that I love about being in a smaller town. And I'm sure in bigger cities, they have like,
I was just about to say, I feel schools, like the private school, almost majority of private schools kind of have
our school would have been like that too. Our school that we went to.
That's true.
You kind of knew who they were talking about for the most part.
And if you had siblings that were older than you, then they definitely knew who you were.
Yeah, and I love stuff like that. And so, that's just one of the things that makes me love a small town. However, anytime we visit a bigger city,
Every time.
Especially me. I always question if I would like it more. Like, for example, Alyssa and I just went to Huntsville. And I feel like Huntsville, Alabama is a city where it's like...
We couldn't figure it out.
We really couldn't.
We were like, are we in a city or are we... Like, where are we at?
Yeah, because Huntsville's the biggest city in Alabama. And so, in my head, I was comparing it to, like, Atlanta. But it's nothing like Atlanta at all.
Nothing.
Like, the downtown, there's not even, like, really big buildings like I was... Like I had in my head. That's what I had in my head. And when we went out to the bars, it was so country and redneck.
Very.
But we were in Alabama,
Yeah.
so what did we expect? But with it being a really big city, that's just not something that I was really processing. But even that...
Even when we were getting dressed, we were kind of... Like, I was like, are our outfits good enough? Like, what are we about to walk into? And then we get there and they all got on, like, cowboy boots.
And cowboy hats.
And we were like, what were we thinking?
We're like, where are we? But it was a little bit of a bigger city. There's multiple Starbucks. There's a Target. There was a Trader Joe's. And I love Trader Joe's. We've been to Oklahoma City multiple times. And
it's so random,
we
but
just
we
love it.
I don't know if it's the vibes, if it's the feel. Because it's almost that big city too, but smaller, there's so many smaller towns in the city that it feels like that smaller town feel. Maybe that's why.
Yeah. And I absolutely loved it anytime we went. Like, once again, there's a Target right down the road. There's a zoo, an aquarium. There's things to do with your kids and with your friends. And I feel like that's such a huge plus in a big city, is having more experiences and more things to be able to do.
And I'm such a spontaneous person. Like, I like to wake up and be like, hey, let's go to the beach today.
Yes.
Or like, hey, let's go do this today. But when you're living in somewhere like we grew up, where you've got 3 hours to the beach, 2 hours to a zoo, 2 hours to an aquarium, it's like you can't really do things.
Well,
like that.
And now I'm an hour and 20 from the beach, so I can easily make a day trip to the beach. I'm very close to Savannah, and so there's also a lot of things to be able to go to Savannah and do. But like you're saying, my closest aquarium is either South Carolina or Florida.
Yeah.
Those are even closer to me than Atlanta.
Yeah.
Because of traffic.
Right.
Basically. And so, like, heck, we don't even have a Topgolf. Like, our closest Topgolf is Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, like, that's one of the things that sucks about a small town. It's like, when you have people coming to visit or you want to do something fun, it's like, okay, what do we do in our small town? Go out to the college bar?
Yeah. No.
Like, we literally go to this place where we go bowling because we don't have anything else to do.
The college bar thing just made me think about this little topic too. We'll just throw this in here, but that's another thing. We've talked about this a lot with going to bars. We're like, okay, we're 23, like we're still young. We're still at the age where going out to a bar in a big city like LA or Nashville completely normal. But like in our small towns, they are college bars. So we're the oldest ones there, and it's like almost uncomfortable. Like we're too old to be here. We should not be here. So it's really that's another thing that throws me off.
We have the Mega Maroney concert in almost like a little less than 3 weeks, and I'm so freaking excited.
Me too.
But I'm like, so if we're going and we're having a girls' night, obviously we have to stay at the bar after. Like, we're not going home when the concert's over, but I'm like, oh my gosh, like,
college kids.
Oh, we have to hang with the college kids for the rest of the night because when the concert's over, the bar will open up to the public. So then we'll have to be at the bar with the college kids, but we're not going to the concert and not enjoying the rest of our night out.
But so many of them are underage anyway, so it's like, you're not even old enough to be here, and I'm too old to be here.
Yes,
like, what's going on?
Yes. I know we've talked about that a lot on this podcast, but I feel like that's one thing about the big cities. Like when we went out in Huntsville, everyone was just like, there is a couple of colleges in Huntsville, but they're not super big. Like, I think it's like the University of Alabama Huntsville is in Huntsville. But there were people there who were our age. Like, the people who we were talking to, like, heck, I was talking to a girl in the bathroom who was 27.
Yeah.
And she was going out, and that just made me feel like, oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
We're with our people. Like,
yeah. You don't feel out of place.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's not like, you don't feel like 18-year-olds are looking at you and like, who is that old married person?
Yeah, no, it has to be weirder for you being married.
Very. I feel that makes me feel like I'm 5 years older than I am.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, anyways, we definitely just got a little bit on a tangent. So,
yeah.
One of the main things that we wanted to talk about with this whole topic, we feel like we had to give y'all a little bit of a background and how this can relate to us. But before we continue any further, we're talking about how social media kind of sets that tone and gives us pressures. We are going to take a minute and thank our sponsors for today's video. So I wanted to let you all in on a little secret. A couple of months ago, I started doing online therapy through BetterHelp. Growing up, there was always a stigma around therapy, but I finally realized that it could be for anyone. Personally, I wanted to start speaking with a therapist so I could better myself for my marriage, my friendships, and my everyday life. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it is 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then, you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone, or video call. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom-picked for you, more scheduling flexibility, and at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/wewannatalk. That's betterhelp.com/wewannatalk. Okay, I think we can all collectively agree that influencers are absolutely taking over social media.
Yes, and this is also a little bit of a topic change. Just bear with us, and we're going to tie it together.
Yes, definitely. And one of the things about influencers that you will notice is all of them, or almost all of them, live in big cities. For example, Austin, LA, Nashville, New York, Phoenix, or even like surrounding cities in Phoenix, like the Glendale, Scottsdale area. We were even talking about like Mama Carl's is from Wilmington. Like, even that's a bigger city than like what we live in.
For sure.
And all of them are just in these super cool places with a million things to do.
Yeah.
Like, it's just crazy. And then there's someone like me who was a TikTok bride getting married in the country.
Literally.
Living in a small town. Like, it's just absolutely insane to see the difference between where influencers live and where we live. And following all of these influencers, I can personally admit that this has made me want to live in a big city in the past.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, we've talked about this a lot, but I've told Alyssa before that if I wouldn't have started dating Mike before college, and if I would have graduated college as a single lady, I would have 100% even moved from Georgia. I don't even mean, like, I wouldn't have even went to, like, Atlanta or Savannah. I think I would have actually went, like, heck, maybe even, like, Charleston or something.
Yeah.
Like, I just would not be in Georgia right now. There's no way like, really, if it wasn't for my husband, I just couldn't see myself here.
Yeah. I was even, like, this close to moving to Phoenix for other reasons, but that didn't happen, and it's like, whoa, what
Yes.
would I be doing right now?
Yes.
Like, that's crazy.
I would have tried to follow you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We were like, come on, girl.
Like, even when I was just saying that to Alyssa before this, she would have said, if you did graduate single and you would have moved, she was like, I probably would have went with you.
Yeah,
like,
we would have both been gone.
Yes.
Living our best lives.
Which part of me does regret that we didn't move together after college.
After high school.
After high school. I wish we would have. I know.
But we were also just talking about how that one small decision can change the course of your whole life. And you don't think about it when you're graduating high school.
No.
You don't graduate in college.
Not at all. You're focused on the now, not the future.
Yeah.
And sometimes I really wish I could have experienced life from a different angle. And when I say that, I definitely want to note that, I don't regret my life at all. I love my husband. I'm very
happily married.
I'm very happy that I'm married and I'm at where I'm at in life. But I just wish I could, look through some goggles and, see what my life would have been like if I would have moved somewhere different and just done literally anything else. Because it's you want to know, Alyssa is saying, one tiny decision, changes your life.
What if?
Me calling Mike that day and asking him or texting him that day and asking him if he wanted to start going to the gym with me freaking changed the next 5 years of my life.
It's crazy.
Literally.
It's insane.
What would we be doing? And so, I also just wanted to say all of that to say that no matter what decision you make, whether you're in a big city or a small town, you're always going to have the what ifs.
That's true.
And wonder
what
else your life could be like.
Just because you move far away or move to a big city that you would be happy. I feel like with social media, or no, it's not even I feel like, for sure with social media, we only see bits and pieces of people's lives. And I know a lot of influencers now are trying to show the good and the bad. Jenna Palick, however you say her last name.
Palick.
She started showing more of her behind the scenes. Allison Kutch, she's showing a lot of hers, but you still only see the fun events and the cool stuff and what they're doing. And it makes you almost long for that. But who's to say they're not happy where they are?
Yeah, they're... It's what it is they're 100% romanticizing their lives in a big city. For example, even Alex Earl. I'm a huge stan of Alex Earl. Yeah. Okay, I freaking love the girl. But she's living in Miami, going to the University of Miami. If you look on her posts, there's at least one comment on every post that says, "You make me want to go to U Miami. I'm literally applying to U Miami because of you." Because she's romanticized life in Miami so much with her party life there, literally everything.
Her friend group,
absolutely everything about her life in Miami.
Which, honestly, good for her. Go her. But it's just because that's her experience does not mean that's going to be your experience.
Yes, I 100% agree. And it's important to note that life isn't always like that. Let's be totally honest. A lot of these influencers you see kind of come from money, and that's why they're in the big cities in the first place, because bigger cities have a higher cost of living.
Very, very high.
It's expensive to live in a big city.
Pause, I know you're in the middle of a sentence, but we were literally just talking about this, and we were like, had we had moved to one of those cities right out of high school, first of all, if you're in college and you don't have the inherited financials, you're gonna be broke. That's just point blank period, especially if you're paying out of state tuition. You're gonna be a broke college student. You're not gonna be having these elaborate, crazy experiences, even if you were to move years later when you're stable in your financials and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, but it's not even just the cost of living. It's literally everything. There's more people. There's more traffic, and a majority of the time, and I'm not saying all the time, but a majority of the time, there's a higher crime rate. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely crimes that happen in our small towns, but the crime rate in a bigger city is going to be way higher. And when we're saying that, we also want to state that there's absolutely nothing wrong with living in a big city. If you can afford it, if you don't mind the traffic, then by all means, live your best life. But because we've considered it ourselves too, but it's definitely possible to enjoy life just as much from a small town with the right community and the right environment. And kind of going based off what we were talking about with the cost of living, etc., is influencers make a crap ton of money.
Absolutely.
They are making thousands of dollars off almost every post that they make. Like, it's actually insane to me.
Tens of thousands. This is also a little side note, but if you know who Tara's World is on
oh my gosh,
TikTok,
how much she makes on her OnlyFans?
She does OnlyFans along with social media.
Yeah.
And this girl said
$380K
a month.
$380K a month.
And I mean,
off
that's OnlyFans, so it's obviously a little bit different. But I mean, holy cow! And she lives in LA, so obviously she's got that higher cost of living. But she
also owns in a penthouse in like, my gosh, what's that city?
I didn't know that.
In Massachusetts.
She just bought it. Where her dad lives?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot. It's
a condo.
Boston?
She called it a condo.
Anyways, this girl has 2 places to live, and she's flying back and forth between the 2, living her absolute best freaking life, okay? Like, and shout out to them. Like that would be amazing. Yes, exactly. Like, 100%.
Yeah.
But they're able to afford the downtown apartments, the freaking penthouses, the condos, even the huge houses. I'm sure you've seen a lot of creators lately buying big houses, like Makeup Michaela. Also, I cannot think of her last name, but her name's Kaylee, the girl that buys all the stuff off Amazon and does like the organizing in her home and her fridge. You know who I'm talking about? Like, she got very popular for a while there because of her very like aesthetic videos. Yeah. Her and her boyfriend also bought a really freaking nice house, and even with Emily Kaiser just got a Bronco, and she's been doing nice, expensive things in Arizona, and it makes you feel like the girl who sent us in this topic, she was kind of making a point in saying,
I feel like my goals, I feel like it's almost diminishing what I feel about myself. Yes. Like, are my goals not big enough? Am I doing enough? But it's like, you really can't compare. That is a whole different world, literally. Like, they're living a completely different world than we are.
Even, I had a lot of people, I'm obviously not anywhere near where some of these creators are. I don't even like to consider myself an influencer because I barely even post on social media much anymore. But I'll be 100% transparent with y'all. A lot of my wedding stuff I was able to get for free or at a discount in exchange for content being made. Now, that's not everything. Don't get me wrong. We paid over $20,000 for our wedding, okay? Over $20,000.
But it been way more
Yes, like, we were able to get bridesmaids dresses for free.
I was going to say that, but I don't know if I was allowed to.
Yeah, I was able to get their bridesmaids dresses for free. There's a lot of, like, smaller stuff, like a lot of the mother of the bride gifts. A lot of that stuff I was able to get for free with partnerships. And there were even people who were coming and were like,
how can you afford all
this?
Like,
how can you do this? Like, I can't do this nice stuff for my wedding. Like, y'all, me freaking neither, okay? I just literally freaking lucked up and became a TikTok bride.
Look up. You worked for it, but I know
did,
what you mean
but
when you say that.
With social media, it's all about luck. Like, the right video goes viral at the right time, and I just so happened to be lucky enough to become a TikTok bride, and like Alyssa is saying, I did work really hard for that, but like, even that changed my life completely for like a year during wedding planning. Like,
and it was bringing you an income during wedding planning where you weren't having to work as much, and you were able to still take care of yourself. But
1,000%. So it's just one of those things where, like, you can't compare yourself to people who are doing social media. It's for like it's a freaking different life, okay? Different. Like, it's absolutely insane the way it works, the way that TikTok has changed our economy and stuff like that. So if you're not living in a big city and you're not doing all of these things that you see influencers doing and you're not living where they're living, it does not diminish any of your hard work or any of your accomplishments, because at the end of the day, a job is a job, a house is a house, no matter the location.
As long as you're happy.
Yes, as long as you're happy. That. Right. So I knew I wasn't going to be happy in our small town.
Yeah.
So while I still live in a small town, I still moved away.
And there's no telling where you're going to end up, to be honest.
Literally. Yeah. I don't know if we'll stay here forever. I don't know where we're going to be, for being totally honest.
Yeah.
It's just up in the air.
It's interesting. I know my big deal about moving or leaving or something is when I have kids. I mean, my mom she had me, I wouldn't say old, but she was.
But she's the youngest of 7.
When she had me. So my mom is hitting 60s in a few years. So it's like, and a lot of my family lives in this county. So I'm like, I want my kids to grow up with their cousins and their grandma and stuff. And I mean, same goes for you too. And I feel like that's why y'all have been a lot focused on building a community here and putting down roots here. Because when you do have kids, it's like, okay, who do my kids hang out with?
Yeah,
like they're gonna be freaking weird kids if they don't hang out with somebody.
Yes.
So that's a huge deal for me, is being around family. So it's really, I mean, it's different for everyone, whatever you're comfortable with, but the pressures of social media are there. They're very real. Sure. But I feel like it's important to remind ourselves that just because that's a life that someone else is living does not mean you have to be doing the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And even just diving further even into what Alyssa just said, like, social media definitely does put pressure on all of us. Yeah. On everything, whether it's where you live, what you do, what you're wearing, heck, what products you're buying. Emily Kaiser and Alex Earl are freaking running that world right now. Like, beauty. if they're buying it, if they're using it, you probably are too. Okay, like,
and the side you don't see of that as well is they're getting paid.
Yes.
To, even if they say this isn't paid, they're getting free product, they're getting paid in some kind of way. Yes. And you don't see that, and you're like, how the heck are they affording these $100 skincare products and
because
this,
it's
that, and the other?
Yes, like it's just such, the app definitely does put a lot of pressure on us, but you have to learn how to separate social media from your reality and start living your life for you and no one else. Right. So,
good point.
Yeah.
Word.
So, I actually think that was a little bit of our concluding point. What was I trying to say right there? That was our conclusion. I feel like, or I really hope that we addressed this the way that we wanted to. I feel like this was a hard topic to kind of lay out. Like, when we were typing it up, we were like, how do we type this out? How do we make this make sense? Where do we start? Where do we end? And so I really hope that we were able to answer this question. Like, I hope we didn't repeat ourselves too much, but I don't know. I just think our overall point is you just have to stop comparing your life to others. Like, if you want to live in a small city, live in a small city. If you want to live in a big city, live in a big city. If you want to live in the freaking country like Alyssa does in the middle of nowhere, knock yourself out. Me personally, I like being 5 minutes down the road from Publix. So we're all different, but if you feel like you're gonna have regrets, then you need to sit down, whether it's with your husband, whether it's with your parents, whether you just need to figure it out on your own. Just definitely do what makes you happy. Like, life is freaking short, and if you were to die tomorrow, like, what would your biggest regret be? So, there's that conclusion. Y'all already know the drill. No matter where you're listening, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Leave us a 5-star rating because y'all love us.
Please.
Pretty please. And hopefully Alyssa and I will be back on track with the podcast. We're really trying.
Yes. Keep sending us topics because this was
a really good
suggestion that we were pretty excited.
It gave us something to where we hadn't been thinking about it for months. Like, we hadn't been pushing off.
I know,
it just kind of
we dread talking about a topic, and we're like, oh, we really want to talk about that today.
Yeah, and so this was fun. I feel like this was something that we could definitely relate to. We could definitely give advice on, and I hope y'all enjoyed it as much as we did, and we hope that it really helped. So, shout out to the girl who sent this in. I think her name was Carly. We appreciate you sending in this topic. Yes. This was really fun. And I don't know if y'all can hear it, but the rain is picking up. So we need to go ahead and end this before it continues. So
I love you guys.
We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Bye, friends.